Let's move on to the next topic. And the next topic today comes to us from Jasen, who writes, very simple, do you think Justice League 2 will be made? Well, look, I think there are several reasons to believe that it will be made, and I think there's several reasons to believe that it won't be made. And then you get into some semantics about what constitutes Justice League 2. Look, on the one hand, about why we should expect Justice League to be made, or a second Justice League movie to be made. Number one, what's the point of having a DCEU? What's the point of having a DC cinematic universe if you're not building towards Justice League films? I mean, seriously, what's the point? You have shared cinematic universes, so you can do these big build-up films later on, right? Otherwise, just do I love standalone comic book movies, actually, but otherwise, just do standalone comic book movies. If you're going to have a shared cinematic universe, the point is that you build it up to Justice League. That's the whole point of it. Number two, Avengers is still shown, despite what happened with the first Justice League movie, Avengers shows that when you do the big team-up movies, there's huge upside potential. So yes, granted, the first Justice League stumbled out of the blocks, fine. But the Avengers franchise shows us that when you do these big team-up movies, I mean, look, Avengers Infinity War just became the 4th highest grossing box office film of all time. Only the 4th film in history to join the $2 billion club. Clearly, there's big potential there. So that's another good reason to expect that they'll do a Justice League 2. Another reason to expect that they'll do a Justice League 2 is that right now it seems like they're just keep going. Like, people like me, I think they should reboot. I think their best chance for success, and I want them to succeed, and therefore I want them to reboot because I think that's their best chance for success. However, it seems on the surface like their decision is to be just keep going. And so if they're going to keep going and you're doing an Aquaman film and you're doing Shazam and you got another Wonder Woman coming, I think that all points to that they probably have plans to do a Justice League 2 somewhere down the line. Whether it's sooner or later, who knows? So those are all the reasons, and I think some pretty compelling reasons, why I think you should expect there to be a Justice League 2. However, there's also a flip side to that coin. I think there are some pretty good reasons to think that they won't do a Justice League 2. Number one, the results of the first Justice League. Unlike the Avengers situation, where you build up to your big team-up movie and then you do the big Avengers movie and it becomes the biggest film in your franchise, Justice League came out and became the smallest film in their franchise. Not the result they wanted. Not comparing it to the MCU, not comparing it to anything else. Just within its own franchise, Justice League, which should have been easily your biggest film in your universe, forget what the MCU is doing, who cares? Justice League should have been the biggest film in your universe, and instead it nosedives and becomes the least successful film in all of the DCEU. That can't be understated. I mean, it's a bad situation for them to be in. On top of all that, you've had a lot of chattering about who's in, who's out. I even got told yesterday. Yesterday was kind of weird. Yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? Anyway, yeah, 2 days ago, I got told by I'll be honest with you, I didn't know whether to trust him or not. I got told that Henry Cavill was out. I got told that Henry Cavill was out. To be honest with you, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. I still don't buy it. Just to be frank, I still don't buy it. But then what's weird is the following day, which was yesterday, I started seeing some chatter on Twitter about Henry Cavill being out of the DCEU. Now, granted, it wasn't from any reliable sources, nothing like that. But I just thought it was kind of funny. They got told one day that Henry Cavill's out, and I don't believe it. Just that's why I never did a story on it. I don't believe it. I still don't believe it. But the fact of the matter is, you have a DC cinematic universe that has and then forget about the Ben Affleck situation. About there's some upheaval going on and stuff like that. There's some negative baggage that goes along with the DCU, and these are all things that could point to maybe they don't do it. Now, here's where we get into the semantic part of it. At some point, another Justice League movie is going to happen. But will it be a new version of a Justice League? and therefore not really a Justice League 2, but rather whether it's a rebooted Justice League, whether it's an all-new cast of characters, some form of a new Justice League movie, I think that's a foregone conclusion that at some point that happens. But whether it'll actually be Justice League 2, whether it'll be in the continuation of the DC Cinematic Universe as it exists today, I don't know. So, I believe there are some legitimate reasons to suspect there won't be a Justice League 2. I believe there are some very legitimate reasons to believe that there are. Which of the two arguments sells you better? Which one do you think the answer is? That's up to you guys to decide, but jump down to the comment section and let me know what you think. Will DC do a Justice League 2? Let me know your thoughts. Again, I think there's some legitimate reasons to think they won't, but I also think there's some pretty legitimate reasons to think that they will. Jump down in the comment section and let me know what you think. All right, let's move on to the final email today.